And we're back. Everybody's favorite series. This oaf sits in front of a camera in a non-air conditioned room that I'm very happy to be paying $1,300 a month to live here. Sits in front of a camera and argues why this pixelated card stock is better than this pixelated card stock, and make you try to believe me. So, we have a lot of new cards that dropped in this upcoming tier list. A lot of new placements and some new S tiers, which I'm very excited to talk about. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And some that I might be underrating. So let me know in the comment section who you would change and some of your favorite cards in MLB 22 right now. I really appreciate the likes a lot. This takes a hell of a lot of time. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. Get into it right after we talk about Underdog Fantasy quick and the great deals that they have for you. As you're probably aware, the NFL season is rapidly approaching. Week 1. First game on Thursday, Vikings-Packers on Sunday. Surely the Vikings are going to start with a big dub, right? I do have faith in the new regime there. Let me know your favorite team down in the comment section down below. But of course, that means new opportunities, new pick'em slips, and tons of special lines that Underdog Fantasy is going to have. And they still have a special offer for you. Upon your first deposit, Underdog Fantasy will automatically double it. You put in 10, they'll give you 20. Put in 50, they'll give you 100. You put in 100, they'll give you 200. It's a fantastic opportunity. I always have a lot of fun doing NFL pick'em slips, and baseball is still here too. It's really fun. There's a lot of easy lines to hit now that we have the September call-ups happening, so it's a great time to go ahead and start Underdog Fantasy. Again, promo code GOMES, get yourself a $100 up to bonus upon your first deposit, and thank you to Underdog for sponsoring the channel this year. And here we are, the catcher tier list. So again, quick ground rules. Green means great value. Red means you can do a hell of a lot better. S is the best. Penny pincher, good options if you're kind of just starting out, but most people I'd figure are going to be like in the S to tier 1. Anything, especially like tier 3 down, is going to be just as you're beginning playing the game. Or if you like a challenge, I suppose. But S tier for catchers, it's still Mike Napoli. And I don't think it's that particularly close. Lord knows Mike Napoli was quite never this good, but hey, it's fun. One thing I will say about content this year is they're putting new guys on the top of the totem pole. It's not the same faces that are constantly, you know, just drowning out DD lineups. Napoli's fantastic. The new Francisco Alvarez, I do like a lot. I think he's the definitive catcher number 2. But Diego Cartaya, around the same price, is very good as well. Yeah, the new Johnny sits on the bench here. He's okay. It's just better catchers. Again, I will say as far as defense goes, the only 2 stats that matter are arm and block. Catcher pop time is big, don't get me wrong, which he does have. More people are beginning to steal now, but for the hitting attributes and not having a fugly swing, I pick most of these guys over Johnny Bench right here, and they're cheaper, which is also great. Cover athlete cards are back to soaring higher than Cody Bellinger in the offseason right here. 234K, good lord. Otherwise, a lot of the same catchers right here. Not too many new ones. You still have a lot of great options. The best of the best are not too expensive, so you can't really go wrong right here. But not too many new shakeups as far as the backstop goes here. Move on to first base, where we do have some new cards. And yeah, I think the brand new Jim Thome, who's going to drop finally after like 4 fucking weeks of seeing that he's there. It's just like dangling him in front of us. Ooh, you want him, don't you? Huh? You gotta wait a month. It's like the dangling a Snickers bar while you're on the treadmill right there. Huh? You gotta keep at it if you want the goal. You gotta keep playing to get Jim Thome here, who's very good. He's max against righties and very good against lefties. Again, I will say, if you're like me, you have P5 Frank Thomas. I do think he's better than Jim Thome. And again, I will preface, we're not doing secondaries right here. It's gonna be like a hodgepodge disaster, hard to really quantify anything that's going on. It'll be more of a mess than the Angels front office right here. There's the new Lou Gehrig, who's good. He's better than Ortiz, but I can't quite put him over Frank Thomas. I love his swing, don't get me wrong. I truly do love his swing. And yes, he can play left and right. Technically, I mean, it's on the card, but should you? No. Otherwise, new cards, there's not a whole lot of them here. I will say at the bottom here, Penny Pincher, Live Series Albert Pujols. is one of the best fucking bench bats you can have right now. He's got the pinch hitter quirk. He's got like 115, 110 against lefties. Truly, current day Albert Pujols against lefties is like Barry Bonds. He is crazy how good he is against lefties right now. There's a lot of other good options here, but most of them are not going to be as good as, Jim Thome, who you're going to get for free. So, a lot of first basemen, a lot of ones I like here. I will say at a lower option, Pete Alonso. His card's always rake. He has a lot of quirks. The new Goldschmidt, now that he's upgraded, is slightly better. Can't really go wrong. First base. The new Rhys Hoskins, too. The Topps Now card is also pretty damn great for being a Topps Now card this year. Second base, we got some new faces right here. A couple shocking ones. Robinson Cano is the brand new Extreme reward, but you see he's at a yellow value. Now, I don't think the average person needs to play Extreme, at least past Aroldis Chapman, which is the 65-point reward. I think if you're pretty good, or if you want something to strive for, yes, do Extreme. Those cards are good, but you can do better. I think Carpenter or Cano are equal. It's so hard to differentiate the two. If you're in higher difficulty, Hall of Fame Legend, I would Legend for sure, I'd pick Cano. But All-Star for the average person, I'd probably go Matt Carpenter. He's a hell of a lot easier to get. You probably already have him because he's part of the last PUTM there. Jackie is yellow value here. He's still $1 million. Yes, they just offered those Derby and All-Star packs for seemingly free, but then you still have guys like Luis Ariz, God bless him, going for like 70,000 stubs. I don't think there's 70 green parallels of that card. The Justin Turner and Ian Happ are two very good cards that just dropped in the Henchman pack. If you're on a budget, they're some of the best cards that you can get right now at 10K. I truly do think they're phenomenal. You have a lot of other good ones here. Penny Pitcher, there's a couple decent little options, of course. India is very good. Altuve is a solid option. Miguel Vargas as well. Cannot really go wrong at 2B right now. A lot of good options for cheap, so I think that's going to be one of the easier positions that you can field. And one other thing I will say as far as second base and shortstop goes, even if they don't have the secondary, any shortstop can play second, any second baseman can play shortstop. That is a guarantee. At worst, you lose like 10 fielding. I think it's 8 to 10. So they can absolutely play that secondary, even if it doesn't list it on the card. 3B, Donaldson, he's ranked behind Austin Riley. Why? Austin Riley's just him. He's got quirks. Donaldson doesn't. Very good card. Again, yellow value. Him as the end extreme reward is just a bit tough because we got the new chipper. The Thome can play 3B as well. The Devers is still so goddamn good. The only thing Donaldson's better than Devers, who dropped in, early June, is power left. Otherwise, he's got more contact, the same power right, maybe higher. I mean, it's crazy how good that card is for when it dropped. 3Bs, again, one of the most stacked positions in the game, and you don't need George Brett. I still think it's good to get, of course. He's 2 mil. He's green value, because you're going to need him to get McCutchen. You're going to need McCutchen to get the new collection, which we'll talk about in a new video coming soon here. Jordan Walker, very good, but nobody cares, because there's too many other good free 3Bs right now. There's a lot of good ones. If you're like on All-Star, veteran difficulty, the home run derby, like Jose Ramirez, is going to smack. It's hard to get too much better than that, where contact isn't as important on the very low difficulties in the beginning of ranked seasons. Again, 3B, a position that you can easily field for cheap. Shortstop. This is where Chipper fits in, because this is where most people should be using him. I should preface an asterisk right there that means what I predict the price will settle at. So him, Gehrig, and Wagner, I think 150 is a good settling point, but they could go down a little bit further because we haven't seen like a second Conquest map, second Showdown quite yet. Chipper's just so good. He's Ernie Banks hitting wise, but he's a switch hitter. The defense does not matter. If you played the game as much as me, you know, fielding is just a fucking dice roll, essentially. You hope you get a Yahtzee. Ernie Banks, that being said, is very good. Shortstop is so stacked right now. It is crazy. I had a hard time judging this once more. Last time we had like 5 S-tier shortstops. I do think Chipper is the de facto best by a decent little margin right here. He's the best hitter. He's a switch hitter. He's got the best swing. He's 70 speed. But O'Neal Cruz, he is 7 foot. Let me play this clip for you. It just comes out of nowhere. Like a fucking Loch Ness monster. Just makes diving catches. It's so goddamn unrealistic, but it's so goddamn good if you've got him on your team. Cal's great. Volpe's great. Noelvi Marte's great. Dansby's great. Even Gattel and Tim Anderson are borderline tier 1 guys that just couldn't quite put them on the same line here. Guys like Gattel that suffer from attribute dysfunction. Don't quite have the power, the punch there. They can hit homers, but most of the time they're just going to hit hard liners that you hope don't find leather. And with all the new fast outfielders in the game, vegans beware, the ball's hurling towards some Cal products right here. Elvis Andrus is surprisingly not dog shit. He's actually pretty good, which is insane for me to even say, let alone be true. Jorge Polanco's still great. Ellie De La Cruz is a really good option. There's so many good shortstops. You kind of get the point here. It is very easy this year to get very good cards. You don't need even like George Brett. Like Austin Riley's kind of on the same tier. You don't need, well, I guess a lot of the shortstops here are very expensive. But even Noelvi Marte, Dansby Swanson, if you've just got like 16K, a very good card. So there's a lot of great shortstops. And again, it's a position where there's lots of secondaries that you can fit these guys other spaces too. Corner outfield has not changed a bit. I think it's been 2 tier lists now that Juan Soto, I still think he's the best hitter in the game. He's got max power. He's 100 vision. He's 115, 110 contact at P5. He's got every quirk of the game. He is so ridiculously good. And I honestly think that's a reason why content feels a little stagnant right now. Because we have a guy like him. It's just hard for them to do much better without, you know, killing off their game here. Babe Ruth is still very good for 105K. It's a great time to get Takashi Babe Ruth right now done. There's not a whole lot of new corner outfielders. We did put Damon here at tier 2. He's all right. I mean, he's free. At the end of the day, he's more so a McCutcheon morsel opposed to anything else. But he is a card, and he's going to occupy tier 2 here. A lot of great hitters here. You know, you can go for pure hitting like Stanton Jordan, although I would say Franmo would be the better option. He's slightly better defensively than both. And he does get quirks, of course, too, which Stanton and Jordan, I think, have a few extra. But again, corner outfield, the cream of the crop is expensive, but you can work yourself down for some cheaper ones. Swisher at 10K is a switch hitter with 100 plus contact and power. He is so fucking good. Corner outfield, there's so many options. It is ridiculous. But that makes sense, you know, because this is left and right field encompassing. Let's move on to center field, where, of course, there's not much action. There's not much changes right here. Andrew McCutcheon is still easily the number 1 guy. I think he's the best card of the game. Although I do think a Parallel 5 Chipper Jones could have some comparison. He could maybe top McCutcheon, but I do think Andrew's still the top guy in the game right here. J-Rod and Cedric Mullins, I think, are kind of on the same tier. If you don't have McCutcheon, those are the 2 center fielders you should play. I think Willie Mays will wiggle himself down to 175 here eventually. Brian Reynolds is crazy good. He's crazy. Again, another one of those enigmas, those cards that dropped a while ago that's still miraculously towards the top of the meta. You could start him on a God Squad at center field and you're not going to miss a beat. Jason Dominguez, still very good. The new Eric Davis is a fantastic card if you're on All-Star difficulty. 82 contact right. I'm not saying you couldn't use it. There's so many people get this misconception. The fact is, you would be better off using somebody else. That's where we come into Griffey, who's at the end of tier 2 right here. Yes, if you go out of your way to use a worse card, if you are good at the game, you will get good results, regardless. Fucking Pitching Rebel could use Brandon Marsh there at the end of Penny Pincher and still be better than most people with Andrew McCutcheon. But the average person should have no sane reason besides him being Ken Griffey Jr. to want to use that card. Little tangent there. Otherwise, new Lorenzo Cain is pretty decent. Got the new Juan Pierre and everybody past Trout on tier 3. It's like the same card. A lot of contact, no power. They're about as strong as single-ply toilet paper. Here's a tip for you. If you got somebody coming to your house, maybe you don't particularly like them, You put a single-ply toilet paper in the guest bathroom. Maybe that's the passive-aggressiveness Minnesota nice in me right there, but it sends a message, because they know for damn sure you don't wipe with single-ply. So get in their head a little bit. If you don't want to be confrontational, there's a little tip for you for your next upcoming house guest. But yeah, center field is pretty stacked right now. The best of the best are quite expensive. The top 4 cards, Willie Mays is good. He's good at everything, but he's not exceptional. And I think the price kind of is a turnoff for a lot of people right there as well. Most people would be better off just going with Brian Reynolds. But center field, a lot of options. Let's move to pitchers now, which again is the most controversial part of this list because it's very hard. It's very subjective. And there's a very high learning curve to some pitchers where not everybody's going to have the same success. I always point to a guy like Fernando Valenzuela. If you know what you're doing, he could be like a tier 1 guy. If you don't, you're going to suck with him. There's a very finite way of how to have success with these guys against, better players. If you're playing against little Timmy, who's on his Nintendo Switch connected to a mobile hotspot in handheld mode, on a car ride to Mount Rushmore, his parents are singing 99 bottles of beer on the wall, you're probably going to fare well, whether or not you know how to pitch or not. But there's a learning curve. Randy, obvious, still the best. Pedro, Roy, Bobby are the only top 4 that I am confident with. I've not used Cole Hamels, but based on his makeup, I think he would be pretty good. Pedro, I can attest to, is very good. Roy Halladay, it's interesting how the tides have turned. Everybody, or not everybody, a lot of people shit on this card. A lot of people are saying, oh, he's mid. Oh, they dropped new legend just for him to be average. Now all the top players are back to using him. I got my asshole greased in a half lately facing him in Hall of Fame plus unranked seasons. Bobby Miller is the most orangey pitcher of the game. I mean, he could be dead on pinpoint or it could hit you on even like a sinker, which is his primary pitch. Grayson Rodriguez, fantastic. He's Pedro, but cheaper. Nolan Ryan, again, a guy, if you know what you're doing, you can have good success with him, but most people don't know how to use Nolan Ryan properly. I want to preface Zach Greinke right here. He no longer tips his pitches. That was a big negative towards him. I had him in S tier last time, which was poor timing because I didn't know that he tipped his pitches at that time, but he no longer does, and he's pretty good. Corbin Burns, you can go on autopilot. Anybody with 2 thumbs can pitch a good game with Corbin Burns. Kerry Wood here is very good in All-Star and Hall of Fame. There's no difference here. If you go on the game logs, you can see the difficulty. On Hall of Fame, that just refers to hitting. So if you're playing against, 700 plus, the hitting will be on Hall of Fame, but the pitching is still an All-Star. So his accuracy is not going to take a deterrent there, but on Legend difficulty, I wouldn't use him. He's going to be fucking wild. Mussina's okay. It really hurts. No changeup right there. New Dustin May, if you're looking for a free pitcher, he's one of the best there is. Tier 2 against a lot of guys who go for a hell of a lot more stubs. You're going to find somebody. I'd love to say he's usable on inside edge days where he's pitching that day, but it's tough. He doesn't have outlier. He's just not as good as he used to be. But I do think his best card will have outlier. The penny pinchers, you can find some good cards here if you're just starting out. The new Patrick Sandoval, the new Jim Palmer. At that point, you're mainly looking for the pitches, not necessarily like the hit per 9, so the repertoire. Heat, sinkers, stuff that people new to the game are going to have trouble picking up on. So a lot of pitchers, a lot of debate there. Righty relievers, we've gotten, I think, nothing, right? Joe Smith was the new righty reliever, I do believe. Raleigh, Chad Green, Jorge Lopez, and D. Will are still the top 4 that you should have. You should make sure to get them, and everybody's cheap except for Raleigh's at 82K right now. Again, why you should always get a card if he's at Quick Sell, which he was when he was first introduced as a boss. The new Troy Percival, he's new. He's pretty good. I have enjoyed using them so far. Preface why guy like Jorge Lopez is 25K red value, just because there's a better version for cheaper. If you had a brain, that probably would make sense. Other cards here, Joan Durant is still very good. Gossage and Cishek, very good options. Ottavino for 5K is fantastic. Otherwise, there's a lot of other decent cards here down the line, but the top guys you can pretty much get for cheap. If you think of 7 or 8 man bullpen at this point, I'd probably go 5 righties and 3 lefties, which is perfect because we have 3 S tier lefties right now, that being Billy Wagner, Chapman, and Gregory Soto. I do think Billy Wagner's slightly better than no-rotas Chapman. It's close. He doesn't have a sinker, but the pitch speed differentials are crazy. And he has better control too. But obviously Chapman's free with playing extreme. Gregory Soto is still great. Josh Hader is down to 2K right here, which is a little sad. He's a gold card now. He's still usable. He's still not too much more worse off, except not quite as much hit 9, which is a big reason people use him. He had about max previously, which just makes it tough. You know, if you're playing at high difficulties, the PCI is going to be un punqueño, and it's going to be tough for a lot of people. Otherwise, not too much shakeup right here. Brooks Raley's still one of the best budget options there is. Zach Britton, he's pretty good. That's all I'll say. It's tough. The sinker and the four seam really blend together right there. Andrew Miller. Has anybody seen this card? I swear. I've never used him. I've never faced him. I've never heard anybody talk about him. It's like a ghost. I have no idea about this Andrew Miller. I mean, on paper, he doesn't look that good. There's better options, especially for 55K. The second most or third most expensive card right here. But yeah. Those are my lefty rankings. Good Christ, finally we got some new ones. And you know what? There you go. That is my tier list updated through the start of September right here. We have big new content coming in. We should have a new team Affinity. 30 plus new 99 overall diamonds, one per team, coming end of next week. I'll show you what my team's looking like right now. Currently, you go about the daft positional battle right now. Somebody in the previous video called this a third baseman team build, which you know what, it kind of is. This is how I would do it. O'Neill is going to be replaced. This is Chipper's spot, hands down. I think this is the best outfield that you can do right now. If you want Jackie, I don't have Jackie. I think he's probably better, or he's definitely better than Carpenter, so he would be my 2B otherwise. But you could put Donaldson at 3, Brett at 1, Riley at left, Chipper at short, and then these two I think are pretty much de facto. Those are the best. I will note you can do this. Austin Riley out of position is only 73 fielding, which isn't too much of a big deal. And he's going to be a better right fielder because Soto's got 0 arm. He got 61. Going to be throwing more ducks than end of career Drew Brees there, trying to get the ball in. But you know what? He tries his best. That's the important part. So I think I'm actually going to try that out for the time being. Even though it says out of position, no worries. It's not really a big deal. He's faster, and he got a better arm, which is more important in right field anyway. So yeah, once Chipper goes down, he's going to be my shortstop, and that's going to be how the team currently looks. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Long video, I'm aware. Leave a like down below. Subscribe if you guys are new. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. There comes out E8.